Welcome in. Latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Breton. Go by SEC Mike on the Twitters. And Cousin Shane is late again as Horton hears you. He already knew what was up, Shane. How's it going, brother?
Oh, man. Yeah. Sorry. My bad. Party foul.
Okay. Well, you're here. That's all that matters.
It's the time change you got me, you know?
Yeah, it's been a couple months, but I hear you.
Hey, how you been, brother? How you been?
Hey, I'm good, but hey, as always, I was waiting for you. I always wait for you to remind you that, hey, we're brought to you by my bookie, Shane, the online sports. But the draft, Shane, is just literally days away here.
Yes.
You can go over there. You can wager on a lot of this stuff. So we're going to talk a lot of draft stuff tomorrow on the eve of the NFL draft. Well, we got a lot of SEC content to cover. But again, before you do that, if you haven't already, head on over to mybookie.ag, put in that promo code, Shane, that SEC, THATSEC, over at MyBookie. And what will that get you? A 50% instant deposit bonus match. So whatever you want to throw in there, they're going to give you 50% of it right off the bat. Maybe if you do that, Shane will show up on time. You know what?
Yeah. I mean, what's the over under them Iamaleavas staying in UCLA, huh? Well, they got 6 months, get their money, get out of there.
Oh, buddy. Oh, yeah. Shout out cousin Braden. He says, hey, first show I've joined live. Shane is late. Love it. But hey, we also got another little special announcement, Shane.
Yes.
Of course, the legend JR.
Come on, cuz. Damn.
Before he just gifted 5 memberships, Shane. I mean, this man is as committed gets. But before we want to shout him out in just a second, Shane. We want to shout out cousin James, who reached out, sent us some emails. We've got, I don't know how often we'll use these, to be honest with you, but they're pretty damn awesome. He sent us these clips. I mean, it sounds exactly like the ESPN guy. So I'm gonna play a couple of them. Again, this is cousin James sent this our way.
This is That SEC Podcast. Here's cousin Mike and cousin Shane.
I mean, how cool is that? And the only reason I'm bringing it up right now with JR, the legend JR.
Yes.
Legend, cousin JR has done it again.
He's done it again, Shane. He gifted 5 memberships, and he even did another one for JR.
The memberships in this podcast are brought to you in part by cousin JR.
So JR, buddy, we appreciate you.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he's such a part of the show. He gets his own clips now. You know what?
Yeah, you got his own voiceover and everything. That's awesome. Appreciate you, cuz. Absolutely. I appreciate James reaching out. Those were pretty damn cool, man. It felt like you said, it was the ESPN. It may be, I don't know, but it was pretty damn cool to have that.
Yeah, so let's shout out the members, Shane, that the cousins that just became official members. Patrick Clark, Tyler Walker, Corrections 101. Oh, well, it's behind bars, but Jordan G and Army 3275. Welcome to the family. Courtesy of
the legend, cousin JR has done it again.
And we even got this one, Shane. I love it. Next time you show up late, I'm going to play this one.
Live from the Cracker Barrel, here's cousin Shane.
You know it's coming. Straight from the rocket chair, man.
And then, hey, we appreciate you too, brother. Horton hears you. He just gifted a member. Horton hears you. He needs his own clip. Maybe we get cousin James to work him up one. But he just gifted a membership, Shane, to Hookem from VA, so Virginia, I assume. Hookem, welcome to the family. Thanks to Horton hears you. What a guy, Horton. We appreciate it. We hear you, and we appreciate you. You know what?
Welcome to the family.
Cousin Blanche says Shane looks like he's half rack into a 12-pack over here.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. This ain't the first one I've opened up today. Was it that obvious?
So yeah, no, those sound effects. I mean, we're up at. I mean, we didn't even do anything, but the presentation of this show has been upped. You know, but thanks to cousin James. You know what?
I tell you what, man, it's been absolutely crazy online, Mike. Absolutely crazy. Have you been online at all? I mean, it's we're deep into the off season when Shannon Sharpe opens up an apology letter, and then you got Sarver getting kicked off for some reason. You've got, oh my gosh, you got one of that Nico or his brother. It seems like every time I refresh the feed, there's something crazy going on online.
Can you explain? Because I kind of missed it. All the Shannon Sharpe deal is that podcast friendly?
I don't think so. No, okay. I don't think so. We'll leave it for another episode. Maybe after dark, we'll talk about it. But yeah, just the fact that you're coming out and making an apology video knows it's pretty not, like, hey, you're about to see a video. Let me explain. You kind of understand that this is not going to be good. So I don't want to get caught up in the lawsuits that they're throwing around up there, but I'm just saying, yeah, shit's about to hit the fan. It sounds like.
Could that be, the point to where we've officially made it if we're having to issue apology videos for something we've done?
I'm kind of surprised we've not had more of those,
Horton Hears You says we want SEC After Dark with Cousin Shane. That's what we're looking for.
Oh, yeah. Just dim the lights. Let's talk a little.
Well, hey, then this one we do got a couple of things to hit on here, Shane. But speaking of voiceovers and awesome audio, Shane shared this one with me. So I was waiting for him to get back on the air for us to discuss it. But anybody that missed it, Coach O speaking French. I mean, this is, I don't have to sell it. That sells itself, I feel like.
French, I want to hear.
Les oranges.
Ouais, trop froid. C'est pas bon?
Trop froid.
C'est trop fort.
C'est 4 degrés.
Ouais.
T'as tout tué les fatums.
Hey, viens à Miami. C'est tout ton show.
Oh, ouais.
C'est beau. C'est tout beau.
C'est tout bon.
Ouais.
T'as une maison là-bas?
Un cadeau.
Un cadeau.
Bon, tourne mon maison ici.
Au
U-Club.
Ah, ok.
Okay. Ouais. Va rester ici pour...
Tu vas rester ici?
Ouais.
Et quand ils vont faire celui-là, s'en aller, ils vont te rengager.
Ouais, mais ça coûte d'autres trois, Miami. Oh, non. I can't afford that. Jacques can afford that. I can't afford that.
Shane, I know you speak French. What the hell were they saying there?
Something about a good place to eat right around the corner. I don't know. Something I kind of lost it in dialect. It's funny. We posted that and the captions just said, nah, not going to do it. So I heard Miami in there. So it's always good to see Coach O. Looks good, man. But I hope he's living his life right now, man. Cause it seems like Easter Sunday was great for everybody. All the cousins out there. I know it was for our family, and appreciate Mike let me have the day off with the crew there. So, but yeah, no, I haven't seen y'all since Easter. Again, that was funny because down there, I think he was doing something Easter related and kind of got caught with that Cajun accent. So I absolutely love Coach O.
Yeah, you're right. So you've been off the show for a couple of days. What was your favorite thing that you ate over the Easter breaker?
Man, you name it, brother. I'm still in, the problem is I've been good. You guys know I've been kind of good, but them Reese eggs are just hard to say no to. And they're just about every plastic egg that we've hid, and the kids are at that age now that they're not even really doing it. They're not even eating the chocolate. So,
I was about to say, I mean, you got teenagers, or who are the egg hunts for? Are that for you?
I'm going to keep buying them till, till they're 40. If I make it that long, Mike, I'm going to keep buying them Reese eggs and start wearing them out. But honestly, it was great. My sister and brother-in-law, they cooked a little bit for us. And I'd probably have to say my favorite was the potato salad, the egg potato salad. I don't know exactly how that thing was put all together, but it was absolutely delicious.
Did we get, Cousin Tony wants to know, any colored eggs over there?
No,
were you coloring them or anything? Remember those days?
We didn't do that. It was actually, it was fun for the kids. We're kind of transitioning to cash eggs. I think we all do this for our kids, where we put money into it and then we kind of hide those around. I think next year there'll be no outdoor at all because it's really hot. So there'll probably be an air conditioned egg hunt, I would imagine, for the kids, because they're at that age. like I said, candy's not a thing. They just want some more money. So the kids really appreciate that. And it's still fun, because they are kids. They're barely kids, but it's still nice seeing a little bit of that childhood still going.
Arizona Sooner fan wants to know, Shane, over under on Cousin Shane's devil egg count.
Okay, what do you think it is? Because I've got a number here. Now, remember, deviled egg is half an egg technically. So,
right.
But we're counting each egg as, its own entity there.
Give me 7.5.
Damn, pretty close. Pretty close. That's the over under. So do you think I was over or under that?
Oh, I always go over.
I was actually under. Because 7 was the number. I started out with 4, and then I went back in there and I saw there were 4 left. I mean, they wiped them out, but you never want to take the last one. So to be fair, Mike, because I'm a good sport, I didn't get to that 8 number. So 7 is the final answer there.
Looked like a lot of devil eggs were eaten by the cousins.
What'd you eat? Like rhubarb and all that fancy stuff? What? Tofu?
Yeah, I had a tofu protein shake. Hey, all right. How about next thing, Shane? How about this? This was pretty wild here. I don't know how wild it is, but they've announced the college football playoff schedule for this upcoming season. So I just wanted people to be aware of this. This should be pretty fun. And again, so we're still going to do right as of right now. We don't know about the seedings. They're still they're bitching and moaning and fighting over all that. So as of today, the seeding is still screwed up to where Mountain West and Big 12 get automatic buys. Hopefully that comes to an end, right?
Right.
So but we still have home field first round games. So that's the important part. So this is round 2. Round 2 is the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Only one game on New Year's Eve. I wish there was no games on New Year's Eve, but I get it. So it's a night game, New Year's Eve. That should be fun. And then January 1, college football is always elite. When it's January 1st, we're going to have a noon Eastern game. We're going to have a 4 Eastern game and an 8 Eastern game. So 3 college football playoff game: Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and Cotton Bowl. Shane in the quarterfinals. Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, January 1st looks awesome. I mean, damn, I'm already here. We just finished Easter and I can't wait for Christmas and New Year. So that would be an awesome event. Hopefully there'll be more SEC teams involved this time.
Right. And then the Final Four, Shane, it'll be played Thursday, January 8th, 7:30 Eastern in the Fiesta Bowl. Nice. And then the next day, Friday, January 9th in the Peach Bowl, 7:30. So those will be our Final Four type games. And then the national championship Monday, January 16th in Miami. January 19th, excuse me, in Miami. Ooh. Shane, how about that? I bet you Carson Beck will be nowhere, even though it's in Miami, he'll be nowhere to be heard from. You know,
I was about to say, maybe we will see him in the playoff game after all.
And then, all right, let's get into a hot topic here, Shane. We're gonna talk Nico Joey Aguilar trade. Who won it? But before we do that, real quick, did you see this? Stephen put this out there, man. Are they burying my ass for this? I had nothing to do with this. This is all Stephen Lassen, the CFB encyclopedia here. Spring portal winners, spring portal losers. Texas, Oklahoma, the big winners right now. Mizzou, Kentucky, Ole Miss, all in the winners category. Losers: Tennessee, Bama, LSU, Mississippi State, and A&M. Are you gonna rip us to shreds, or you got Stephen's back here?
I really like Steven, and he's not on here to defend himself, but I will say this, Mike, I really feel like there's a couple losers in here that shouldn't be. I don't think Tennessee should quite be there. I don't think LSU for sure should be there. I really like what they've done. Now, did they lose a lot of bodies? Absolutely. But I think they brought in a lot of talent. And Mississippi State, even I could argue that one because we knew it was going to be kind of a transition year, and they still brought a lot of talent in, even though they lost their quarterbacks. So I don't know, man. I don't want to be that guy, but I just kind of did. So not ripping it, but I will say, why? Why mainly the LSU one? That puzzles me. Why did he say about LSU?
Well, because they've got still holes to fill. And keep in mind, this is just the spring portal.
Yeah.
So this is the portal that opened up just a couple days ago.
Okay. So it's not the whole portal.
No. He's looking at it like LSU should be trying to, and we know they are. They're trying to make the playoff. They're trying to win a national championship. There's a hole here or there that they're trying to fill that they've yet to fill it.
Yeah. So,
and that's the same, basically it's verbatim what he said about Alabama too. So that's why he's got him in the losers category.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It feels really listy. You know what I'm saying? Like very opinionated there because I don't know. I don't feel like any teams are made or broke in the spring portal. But yeah, I guess this is the eye of the beholder, you know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, Shane.
That's why me and Steven never do a show together, you know? You talk about yin and yang, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Hey, so I knowing you.
Yeah.
You probably jumped on the TikToks or maybe the YouTubes or anything like that. Joey Aguilar, new Tennessee quarterback, Shane.
Yes.
I'm going to throw you some statistics. I know you hate numbers, but 60% passer. It's pretty solid. 6,760 passing yards. 56 passing touchdowns, 24 interceptions. We'll forget about that. 452 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. And this is just for 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these numbers are pretty impressive. But again, I've not watched every single Joey Aguilar throw yet, but I've watched quite a bit in the last 24 hours, Shane. I will say, I think he was a hell of a lot better player in 2023 than he was last year. I don't follow old Appy State, so I don't know. Again, the situation, Steven said there was massive roster transition. Coach was on the hot seat. Coach eventually got fired.
Yeah.
But here's one thing I think Tennessee SEC fans need to know. Steven sent me over this. I thought this was fantastic. This is a chart, Shane, of all the passes that old Joey Aguilar threw last year.
Yeah.
And here's the critical part. 20 yards down the field. Nearly 20% of his passes are going 20 yards downfield. So, and only 14% behind the line of scrimmage. So we have seen it for a couple of years now for whatever reason, Shane, in this Heupel system. I mean, how fired up do you get that old Joe Milton, that old Nico's throwing these damn, why are we doing these bubbles? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Now again, just because he pushed the ball down the field really well at Appalachian State doesn't mean he's necessarily going to do that at Tennessee. But given the fact, and Pro Football Focus says his best throws are 20 yards down the field. They gave him an 85 grade, which means essentially elite. And one other thing that Steven wanted me to point out, this Joey Aguilar led the Sun Belt in air yards, which means like, you know, if you throw a little dump off and the receiver runs 90 yards, you still get credit for those.
Yeah.
But really, did you throw it 90 yards or did you throw it 8 and the guy ran for 90? You know, he led the conference in air yards, passes down the field. So non-yak, if you will, yards after catch. So this guy loves to air it out. And if nothing else, I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you got to be pretty excited that the strength of this guy's game is pushing the ball down the field when we know how much Heupel loves to do that. And say what you want about Joe Milton, say what you want about Nico, but each of those guys really struggled with the deep ball.
Yeah. And I think to make this system work, you've got to have that. You got to be able to take the top off of defense. And we were afraid that you can't sit there as a Vol fan and watch some of these games last year and just be furious that we never took shots down the field. And we all wanted to blame somebody. And I feel like we now have us a scapegoat. But, you know, that chart you pulled up, I saw 70 attempts past 20 yards. We probably had 10 last year, it felt like. Now, I'm sure we had more, but that's what I'm talking about, Mike, is not being afraid to take those shots. And say what you want, Aguilar's coming in with probably the best offensive line he's ever had, the best wide receivers he's ever had, definitely the best facilities and coaching he's ever had. So I'm looking for a guy that this is the ground, this is the floor, and we've got improvement to make here. And Did we just pull off the biggest? This is like that movie Draft Day. I saw Pate talking about this. You ever watched that with Kevin Costner? Did we just pull that off? Did we get to keep all our first round picks and our quarterback?
I don't know about that. Here's the way that Stephen and I again, I don't want to just rehash the podcast we did yesterday.
Jesus Aguilar in the comments.
But Nico, I think, taking your unbiased cap off.
Yes.
Nico's a lot better player than Aguilar, talent-wise. But Nico at UCLA with the massive transition that they have with a complete unknown as a play caller and the talent around him versus Aguilar at Tennessee, pretty confident Aguilar is going to have a much better year. Hell, he may not even be the starting quarterback, Shane. I mean, that was kind of one of my takeaways. I watched the Clemson game last year. He was awful.
Yeah.
Now, Clemson was up 35-0 in the first quarter. Literally, his first pass of the game should have been a pick six, but Clemson dropped it. So, I mean, he had his struggles. Again, maybe he was forcing the issue because they're playing Clemson, and there was pressure to make plays. I watched from 2 years ago when they played North Carolina. He looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
So, the truth is probably somewhere in between. I don't think he's going to be All-American. I don't think he's going to be the worst quarterback in the SEC. But here's something Stephen also wanted me to share. He said, unless there's a surprise portal entry at the quarterback position, Aguilar is probably the best Tennessee could do. I don't think he's going to a season saver, meaning a top 5 quarterback in the SEC, but definitely makes Tennessee more competitive, puts the quarterback's situation in a much better spot. So taking that into consideration, Shane, this Nico Aguilar trade, who do you think got the better end of this? And keep in mind, Tennessee, they're not paying this guy a fortune.
Yeah. Well, you know me, man. I'm going to spin this any orange way I can because that's what I do. Sorry, I can't get the voiceover out of my head. But I again, I could sit here if Nico were coming back and you were comparing this guy to, let's say Aguilar went to, I don't know, Mizzou. I'd still be saying Nico's better. I would definitely be saying that, I would. So I'd be lying. The bad thing is, like you, I've watched nothing but highlight reels. And that's the problem when you watch highlight reels. It's the best of the best. But sometimes you kind of scroll your eyes down a little bit and you look at the scoreboard at the bottom. You're like, you know what? We don't need to know how it ended. We just need to know that he made that 25-yard pass on the sideline. So, yes, at this moment, at this current juncture, Mike, of course, I'm going to say Tennessee got the better end of this deal. But the one thing I didn't like was the speed. And, I think ultimately for this team to really hit that next level, I feel like getting outside the pocket is a big deal. For us to kind of get somewhere close to that 2022 production, you got to have some sort of mobility. And I'm not saying that he doesn't, but he doesn't have SEC speed chasing him down in these highlights I'm watching. So that's my biggest concern. But I do like the idea of, people say interceptions, whatever, but I mean, how many times would you just want somebody to at least freaking try, there has been many games you're 3 and out. And you're just like, what the fuck are we doing? I would rather you throw it 50 yards and keep that defense honest, because then that under stuff's going to, open up. And I felt like that's something that we didn't get to see, that we haven't got to see in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Shay. So let me throw up the schedule here. Again, the over-under has shifted down to 8.5. Are you where you at confidence-wise over-under 8.5 for Tennessee now that I got this Aguilar? In that last point, I thought you said it so well, because, again, still, they're probably going to be big underdogs against Georgia.
Yeah.
Probably going to be underdogs at Alabama. We'll see. If I'm right about Florida, they're going to be underdogs there. If you're right about Florida, Tennessee's probably going to be favored. But again, some of these games, particularly Georgia, you need the guy with the confidence, the guy that's going to not going to be afraid to throw that ball, because they're going to need they're going to need a playmaker back there if they have any hope to beat someone like Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I guess for me, the biggest games that, or I guess you'd call the swing games, the ones that Tennessee should go in a favorite or a slight favorite, you know, you got a lot of those at home. And I feel like that's going to help out. Obviously, Bama, you know, Florida always gives you a fit. And I'm going to sit here, Mike. I'm going to sit here now and tell you there's no reason that Tennessee should lose to Florida. I do that every single year, and usually I'm wrong. But when I look at the Bama-Florida game, other than those two, every game that you really need, I guess, your quarterback to play his A game, you got those at home. So, yeah, I like the schedule, and not so much the roster, not so much the quarterback situation, not so much the coaching. I just feel like 2025, Tennessee really hit it out of the park with the schedule. So, 8.5, how confident I am. I'm confident that they go over, but is it a 10-win season? I'm not that confident. I feel like 9 is definitely on the table.
Hey, shout out Cousin Ollie. How about this comment, Shane? Tennessee loves quarterbacks with names their fans can't pronounce.
You're right.
That's a good one.
Wasn't there a singer, Aguilar?
Christina Aguilera?
Oh, yeah, I guess that was it. Not even close, is it? It's all the same.
And hey, maybe the tiebreaker. Again, who knows what this really matters? But have you seen the updated Heisman odds, Shane?
Mm-mm.
We got him for Joey Aguilar at Tennessee, and we got him for Nico at UCLA. Who do you think has better odds of winning the Heisman?
Well, the fact you're asking me, I'm going to say not Nico.
He does not. Joey Aguilar 45-1, so definitely under the radar, but decent odds. So 45-1. What do you think Nico at UCLA? What do you think his Heisman odds are?
80-11.
Oh, you knew it. You knew it. So yeah, it's 80-1.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. You nailed it. So nearly double the odds favor Aguilar to win the Heisman at Tennessee. How about that?
But I thought he went there for offense, you know?
Well, speaking of nonsense, Shane, this happened live during the last show. I had to, sometimes the cousins, they break news, and then I'm like, well, let me see if this is real or not, because I don't want to see like a total dumbass here live on as we go here. But old Madden Iamaleava, the old Arkansas freshman.
Yeah.
Spring ended. He said, see your ass. I'm going to go join old Nico at UCLA. This is wild, Shane. So, again, I think probably Arkansas will be better off in the long run. They got Taylor Green. We love Taylor Green. They signed another freshman. So, it's not like they're devastated. But this is very interesting here, Shane. This is wild. Here's a statement. I'll throw it up here on the screen from Arkansas AD Hunter Yurachek, Shane. I have spoken with the leadership team at the Arkansas Edge. That's their NIL. And express my support in their pursuit to enforce their rights under any agreement violated by our student athletes moving forward. We appreciate Edge's investment in our student athletes and acknowledge the enforcement of these agreements is vital in our new world of college athletics. We look forward to a continued dialogue with our parties in resolving these matters. So what the hell does all that mean, Shane? It means Arkansas is going to be coming over Madden for a buyout for leaving. Apparently he had they want 50% of the contract that is owed to him, which is believed to be around $500,000. I don't know if that's the official number, but that's what I have heard. So thoughts on Arkansas or anybody going after someone who, if you leave, they're saying, hell, we want some money back.
Well, it's just, this is a comedy, isn't it? At this point, this is, I'm trying to, like a Family Guy episode. And I can't believe it. I can't believe it's come to this point, but this family's name not only has been drugged through the mud, but now I believe will be the statute, if you will. This is an opportunity, and Arkansas has basically came out and said, hey, we want our money back. This is something you don't hear that often. We've talked about this day coming and why a university wouldn't do it, but this is exactly why a university should do it. You signed up, guaranteed money. not only did you take the money and run, but now you left a hole that Arkansas can't fill because they don't have the funds for it. And that's robbery, man. That's basically what it is. You came into my house, you took my money and left, and you're saying I can't file a police report? Fuck that. I'm going after your ass. And I think that's exactly what they need to do. Just make it, put it out there that there needs to be some accountability in college football, Mike. You want to play with grown-up money, you're going to play by grown-up rules.
Yeah. And again, you're free to leave, but if you sign a contract,
yeah,
maybe you should be held to. I mean, I don't think that is I don't think that's too much to ask. Do you?
No, I do not. Absolutely.
Do you think this will hurt Arkansas at all if they actually go through with this? And they didn't name him publicly, so I don't think they're out here like we're going to get his ass. But clearly, this is who they're referencing here. But will it hurt them, you think, with future players, recruits, transfers, anything like that?
I don't think it would. And I think there would be other teams that are supportive of this just because of the spectacle their dad has made up to this point. It's like if you were to sue somebody, this is the perfect. You think of what's his name? The Nebraska kid. What is that? The one that was suing Florida.
Jaden Rashada.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that became a spectacle. So then it was like, okay, well, we're going to come after him too. It didn't seem so bad because it was kind of out there. You know what I'm saying? Coming after a random backup cornerback because he left. I don't think that's the move, but coming after this family that has basically stole from the SEC, I think now or never, this is the perfect opportunity. In fact, it will be used but it will be used to influence kids in the future when you say, hey, listen, before you go, look what happened here. Exhibit A. Not saying we're going to do that, but just see that it can happen.
Right. And I think it would be smart if the entire SEC and again, maybe even the Big Ten or what have you, if they all do this.
Yeah.
If it's one or two schools, if it's Arkansas, sitting on an island, this could hurt them. Mm-hmm. Now, probably not because exactly what you said, this family, this nonsense. But if they all do it across the board, I think that's the ticket to getting some of this resolved. And do you think if they actually go after some of this money, do you think that will prevent some of these transfers from happening or no?
I don't think it'll have as much impact as you'd want it to. Because at the end of the day, and it's sad to say, most of these decisions aren't made by the kids we're talking about right now. At the end of the day, it's a family member, it's an agent, it's someone in their ear that's poisoning them, and they make a decision based on that interaction. And I think that's the shit end of the deal is, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will, with these kids. So I think what has to happen, Mike, is kind of what you said, is you've got to get all the conferences, all the teams on the same page, saying the same thing. It's a united front. It's like parenting. You can't have good parent and a bad parent. You got to have the parents. And I feel like that's what's got to happen here.
Yeah. I mean, I just think this is going to be fascinating to watch. But hey, if you sign a contract, I don't know. I think you should honor it. I really do.
Yep. That's right. I told you I'd be here at 7, and I was at 7:01. That's on me. I apologize. So we're going to increase the show by 1 minute to make up for the minute I lost. That's accountability. You see how that works?
Hey, all right. So, well, I don't know if we'll go that long, Shay, because I only got one other thing.
Right, see you guys.
Maybe fire away with some questions if you cousins got any. But one thing that stood out to me, Shay, I was watching the Texas A&M spring game. It was kind of, I mean, there was not a lot there. There's not a lot for any of these, but I do appreciate the hell that they actually did it.
Yeah.
Shout out this Macro Haynes, Shade, Colorado transfer, defensive end at 5 sacks in the game. Looked like a beast. Maybe that means they don't have an offensive line down there. Of course, they bring everyone back, so I don't think that's the case. But after the game, Mike Elko was asked about Marcel Reed. Little coach speaky, but this is literally the best clip I could find. I want to play this, and I got to ask you something on the other end.
as his spotlight increases. Just how have you seen him maybe step up in a leadership way this offseason in particular?
Yeah, I think it's, the first thing you have to do as a quarterback is you have to find your own way, right? And then you have to figure out what it means to be a college quarterback, the work that goes into it, how much you have to put into it every day to be successful. And while you're figuring all of that out, it's really challenging to lead. I think that was a lot of what last year was for Marcel. It was getting the opportunity to do this for the first time, but really figuring out how much of a grind it is to be a starting quarterback in the SEC and in college football. And so now he's got that under his belt. I think he understands what it takes, and so then that gives him a better opportunity to go out and bring the wide receivers along and bring the O-line along and develop relationships and camaraderie and those types of things, which obviously is really important for your offense to be good.
So this is what I want to ask you, Shane. Is there a starting quarterback in the SEC that is returning? I'm not talking about a transfer. I'm not talking about a guy like an Arch Manning who is stepping into the role. Is there a returning starting quarterback in the SEC that I think the overall SEC fans have less confidence in than Marcel Reed?
Great question. I mean, I think Nico was on that list before he left.
Yeah.
But anytime I could take a dig, I'm going to. Less confidence in. I don't think Green's getting enough confidence or enough respect outside of Arkansas in this podcast. But no, I think Reed is the one. It's kind of funny, not funny. It's sad, but talked about this multiple times that would you be surprised in November if we're not talking about Reed as one of the best quarterbacks in this conference? I wouldn't be blown away. And I think Coach hit the nail on the head. It's not just getting a year stronger, another year of the playbook. And it's about it's about the relationship with the offensive line, where they know exactly what you're doing and where you're about to be. It's the wide receivers and the timing. That's you can't just go out there and play. You have to practice. You have to, and I feel like this full offseason is going to be super beneficial for Reed, especially with A&M having that kind of tough schedule right at the front. This is one, when you look before September's up, for those listeners, you have Notre Dame and Auburn there at the tail end. Those are two losable games that Texas A&M fans do not want to lose or could not stomach losing. And I feel like having Reed back gives you a better opportunity to really shock the conference, if you will, because everyone will be scratching their head if you come out here and punch Notre Dame in the mouth, game 3. So, I don't know exactly. I've kind of rambled. I don't know exactly what your question was, but I do feel like he's not getting the respect he deserves.
Yeah, and I think that is that's a place I think I'd rather be than Heisman expectations.
Yeah,
having not proven it, but I just think that's wild. I can't tell you how many people, even in media and stuff like that, have said, Marcel Reed. You really think he's the guy for A&M? That's out there a lot, and I've not seen anything from him that says he's not. But I understand the questions too, because again, remember it was I think it was Cousin Bo asked us, why is everybody so high on damn DJ Lagway but not Marcel Reed when the stats are similar? True, but it was all about how that when he got the job moving forward. After LSU, we just went in a damn tailspin.
Yeah.
Now, is that all on his shoulders? Certainly not. But it's just kind of hard to wipe that from your memory. Let's say they took care of business. Even against Auburn, and let's say they won the bowl game against Southern Cal, which they should have probably won both those games.
Yeah.
I think the narrative around A&M, and particularly Marcel Reed, is completely different. And he is viewed as one of the rising stars in this conference. Now we could sit here and what if this game and that game for all these damn quarterbacks. And so, the reality is there's lingering doubts given that, that they had that collapse down the stretch. But we also got to remember coming into the season, Shane, I don't think anybody thought Marcel Reed was anything more than like a solid backup.
Yeah.
And the fact that he played a huge role in getting you to 7-1 overall, leading the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean that is not easy to do for a young quarterback. So he is one of the biggest, I don't want to say mysteries because we've seen enough of him to know he's not a mystery, but he's like an X factor that if A&M makes the playoff, that's not going to surprise me. But he'll have to play a lot better than he did last year if they're going to do something like that.
I got to see some development with those receivers that he just talked about. You can't just be out here like Lynn Bowden, just running all the time. We love it. It's great. It's a wonderful highlight reel, and it'll win you some football games. But there will become a moment when you're going to have to win some of these games with your arm. But I want to ask you, I want to flip it around, Mike. We just talked about the expectations aren't that high. Is there 3 quarterbacks that stand out to you that maybe the expectations are higher than they should be, in your opinion? Coming into this season, there's a lot of, I think, quarterbacks that are going to have some high pressured situations, but is there 3 that probably shouldn't be getting as much pressure as they will?
I mean, I think that list starts with Arch Manning, which is all the hype and praise and all that. But he may be incredible. Mm-hmm. But if he's not like a Heisman finalist, I think people are going to say, man, he didn't get it done. You know what I mean? Almost like Nico last year,
Yeah.
Made the playoff. They're like, this guy can't play a lick. I don't think it'll be anything like that. But if he's not the best quarterback in the SEC next year, mm-hmm. some people will think he's a disappointment. And fair or not, I think he leads. He certainly leads the way there. Maybe Diego Pavia, another one. Mm-hmm. Maybe SEC's defense has started to figure him out at the tail end of how I feel about that guy. But again, they've got a damn gauntlet here, Shane. And you think Vanderbilt's what it done? Get the hell out of here. I mean, you might be 100% right. It could have all crashing down. Hell, they could even beat Georgia State last year. Imagine if that happens again. Good Lord, imagine that. And then how about a wild card? I mean, you could literally say any of the Auburn quarterbacks. It's pressure city right there. But what if we may have reached the point, and cover your ears down there in Norman, we may have reached a point where the day of the John Mateer hype is like two out of, that's another one where like, if he ain't a Heisman candidate, he may be viewed as a damn disappointment. He's Baker Mayfield 2.0. He hadn't even played a snap in the SEC yet. Some people are going to have him as a top 3 quarterback, seemingly.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I got caught up in the steak debate here. What's your cut? What's your favorite cut of steak?
I'm a big New York strip guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you say that. I would power rankings. Mm-hmm. I think you gotta go Porter, but if I'm paying for it, sometimes I kind of pull the reins a little bit on that because it's a little higher than it should be, in my opinion.
Like you talking about the price?
Yeah. So I think I'd probably go New York. It's a good mixture. I love the ribeyes, but the ribeyes sometimes are bad. I'm just saying it like it is. They got too much fat involved.
Right.
And it's almost like a sweet tea when you order at a restaurant you've never been to. It's like, unless it's dialed in, there's some that are just not sweet enough. There's some that's too sweet. Same thing with ribeyes. Ribeyes and sweet teas go hand in hand. But New York strip, you could pretty much kind of get the same consistency. And I like me. I don't like to change. I don't like to do a lot of change. So yeah, give me New York, and I think fillets are just always overpriced.
There's a reason Shane wears 3 shirts for 6 years.
I find the one I like, man. I've got like 5 of these light blue ones, and they're different shades. So I know which one's the newest one. So
hey, shout out cousin John Lee, Shane. Can't wait to see Shane Truffle Shuffle. Go Gators.
Not happening. Not happening. We don't even need a quarterback to win that game.
And then, the comment was about 20 minutes ago, so I missed it. I apologize who asked it, but I thought it was a great question, Shane. LSU, he said, Mike, are you going to bet against LSU week in and week out again. That was one team I couldn't pick to save my life, Shane. Every big game they lost, I picked them to win. Every big game they won, I picked them to lose. You know what I mean? So maybe I'll just keep with that theme, but I don't know. I'm still on the edge here. I think LSU, I was on Feinbaum a couple weeks ago. I put LSU as a playoff team.
Yeah.
If SEC gets 4 in, LSU better be one of those 4. If not, the whole thing's a damn disaster. But I'm not overly confident. I reserve the right to change my mind on LSU. But as for right now, I think they're on that edge. And I think Tennessee losing Nico, there may not be a team that benefits more in the SEC. I realize they don't play Tennessee, but maybe they take that spot. There may not be a team that benefits more than LSU.
Look at you name dropping Paul Feinbaum. I told Bill in maintenance he needs to put his whole paycheck on it because I like the over, Mike. I think they hit it.
Now, what happens if they lose to Florida week 3? Are we and particularly Clemson and Florida? Those may be the 2 biggest games on the damn schedule this year for LSU. Let's say they lose both of those, which is certainly not a given. Florida's at home. They as Liquid likes to say, Florida never wins at LSU. So that may be very unlikely that LSU loses that game. But if they do, if they're sitting here at 1-2, buddy, is there any chance they rebound?
No. And honestly, Mike, I feel like that Clemson game makes or breaks the schedule. Yeah. I hate to say it, but it wouldn't blow my mind if LSU finds 3 losses in their schedule. But if their first loss is against Clemson, then all of a sudden I'm panicking, and there should be reason to panic because you're going to find another loss probably before you get out of October at least. And that's before Bama and OU on the road and Arkansas coming. I mean, there are some losable games on this schedule, but the momentum that LSU is trying to have would be. I mean, we've done this. See, 3 years in a row and you lose your season opener. You can't have that. And if that happens, that Florida loss is very likely to follow it.
Yeah. Well, let's just give them the top row here. So let's say they go 4-0. They beat Clemson at Clemson. We don't give a damn about Clemson. That's a win. Florida at home. That's a win. They're going 4-0. If I can guarantee you, Shane, that they're 4-0.
Yes.
A scale of 1 to 10, or what? No, let's do 1 out of 100. How likely is it they make the college football playoff? If I guarantee you they're going 4-0 to start the year, because then we're talking at Ole Miss, 91, South Carolina at home, at Vanderbilt, Texas A&M at home, at Alabama, Arkansas at home, Western Kentucky at home, at Oklahoma. Now, it could really depend on how good Ole Miss and Oklahoma are. But man, I like their odds. If they go 4-0,
what's Ole Miss's first 4? Just curious.
First 4 for Ole Miss is Georgia State. Why are we playing Georgia State? Quit doing that. Georgia State at home, at Kentucky, Arkansas at home, and Tulane at home.
I mean, there's some tough games there. I was just wondering how battle tested Ole Miss will be when that LSU matchup comes, because the LSU sure as hell will be ready. Yeah, I think if you start out 4-0 as an LSU Tiger, I think there's a really, really good shot. Not only are you in the playoffs, but you're fighting for a spot in Atlanta at the end of the year for an SEC championship game, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'll say this, Shane. If they're 4-0, they're going to the playoff for sure. If they're 2-2, fire Brian Kelly. Get his ass out of here.
Go to UCLA, you bastard.
Oh, that'd be rough. He's bound to go somewhere like that. You know what?
Oh yeah, it's definitely out west. Yeah. So, but there's still a chance. There's still a chance something special happens down there, as Coach O was telling us earlier. You just couldn't translate it.
Let's get any other. Oh, here we go. This is a long one, Shane. I don't know how many millions work, but y'all have experience with all these millions per year going to one player on a team. Even millionaires would run out of millions at some time, right? But
no. Just keep sending them my way. I'll find a way. Like I was like, you ever watch that movie? Is it Brewster's Millions?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
How great! They don't make movies like they used to. I went. It's so like I went to the theater the other day. My wife's been wanting me to watch this movie, and it's like a 3-part deal. So we're like 2 in on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the theater, and it was just sad to what it's become. There's nobody there. There's nobody getting tickets. I venture, I hate to say it, but I would imagine the next 10 years, movie theaters will be closed. At least the smaller ones. Now, those big IMAX theaters and things like that, I imagine stay open. But yeah, they just, because they don't make movies like they used to. Every week, there was like 2 or 3 really good movies coming out. We don't see that anymore.
Would you go to the movie theater to watch an SEC football game? If it, like a live feed? Because I feel like they should start doing events like that.
Maybe. I would really like to do that. What's that one thing called where it sits in a stadium seating?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a movie theater, but like it's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that thing's called. Then definitely don't have one of those this side of Knoxville. But if they had something like that, absolutely. I think that would be awesome to feel. It's all about the camera angle too. It's not just the game. If you could actually feel like you're at the game, I think maybe onto something there for sure.
The planetarium. I don't think it's quite the planetarium, but that's kind of where Shane's at right there.
Planetarium. What's that?
It's kind of like a museum type deal where they have a huge. They play movies essentially and things like that.
We went to one thing when I was younger. You probably know what this was because you're kind of a nerd, but you're in this like auditorium and there's a sky and you could see isn't that a planetarium?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought, but the plants threw me off. So I was like, like a garden or what?
I got a funny story about that. You're always telling the story, Shane.
Yeah.
So my lady, we went to, her family, they all live in Salt Lake City, Utah, right?
Yeah.
And it was miserable. It was December. It was near Christmas. It's like below zero there. It's a horrible time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my lady said, "Hey, there's a planetarium over here. We can go see Led Zeppelin laser show, or there's like a movie." And I was like, "The Led Zeppelin laser show for sure." We went, sold out. Let's go see the movie. And it was like, do you know what Veggie Tales is? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's like made for like preschoolers.
Yeah.
That was the movie. So we bought tickets to that, and there's a grown ass man sitting there with nothing but preschoolers. I mean, it was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Oh my gosh. Did you have the mustache and everything?
I think I did.
You want some popcorn?
It felt illegal just sitting in there,
Oh my gosh. You didn't plan that one right, did you?
And the whole time I'm thinking, man, Led Zeppelin and laser show would have been amazing. You know what?
Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
All right. Anything else before we hop off the line?
No, man. Again, it's been absolutely crazy online. So be sure to have those notifications on. Thank you for everybody hitting the thumbs up. That really does help out. So just whenever you minimize, if you can hit that, that would be awesome. And I look for. I mean, we've got a little off season. Still got some spring news going on. So we got the coaches meeting pretty damn soon, and that's when all this stuff really starts picking up. So any new rule, regulation, or anything like that, we'll be sure to get a smart person on here to let you navigate and see what's going on. But if kids are getting sued, we're going to be the first one to tell you. No apology videos. Let's just that's our motto here. Let's try not to have any of those.
Yeah, and one more time, Shane.
The legend, Cousin JR, has done it again. This episode of That SEC Podcast is brought to you in part by The Cracker Barrel.
All right, so I think that's going to do it. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.
Hey, buddy, this beer's for you, Mike, and Cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast. Hail State.